So today we're going to talk about solving systems with three variables. One common system with three variables is the real world. We have length, width, and depth. Those are three different dimensions. So far we've only ever dealt with two. Now, before we go any further, I will say that we're going to kind of dip our toe into this, but we're not going to spend a ton of time here. This is basically an entire college class. I just need you to know a little bit. So don't stress too much, don't panic. We won't be here very long. Also, before you continue watching this video, if you do not remember how to perform elimination, like on the homework for number 1 and number 2, stop this video, go watch the one on elimination. I'll have that linked there as well, just to make sure that you've really got that down solid. Otherwise, this part's not really going to make sense. So here we go. We have our system of three variables. I kind of want you to think about solving this by doing elimination twice. And what I mean by that is if you look over here at this X column for number 4, we have a couple of pairs that if you added them together, that would make 0. And then we could get rid of that variable. One other thing I'm going to do really quick that I probably should have done a touch earlier, but I'm going to do it now, is I'm going to just go ahead and name the rows just to make them easier to talk about. Let's talk about row 1, row 2, and row 3. That doesn't really have anything to do with math, but it will make it easier just to talk about what's happening, and I hope it'll just provide a little bit of clarity. So I'm noticing that row 2 and row 3, if we were to add them together, it would get rid of the X column. So let's do it. Let's do row 2 plus row 3. I'm just going to go ahead and write those out again. So let's go ahead and just add them together really quick. We get 0x plus 5y plus z equals -1. And there we go. We could probably even just get rid of the 0x part. All right. So there we go. Now we have one new equation. I'm just going to go ahead and write this over here. Let's go ahead and try the exact same thing, but instead of adding row 2 and row 3, let's add row 1 and row 3. I think if we add those two equations together, we would also get rid of the X column. So let's do it. I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite it. Let's just add them together really quick. See what we get. -2y plus 5z equals -5. Cool. Let's go ahead and just write that up there by our other one. Now we have something that looks very familiar to us. This should seem quite similar to something we've done before. Let's go ahead and solve that the way that we know. Looking at the top row, I see that we have a no coefficient in front of the z. So I think I'm going to multiply that row to make it so to add to the second one. So let's go ahead and multiply everything here by -5. So that'll be -25y, -5z, and +5 there. So let's go ahead and add those together really quick. -25 minus 2y, that'll be -27y, which is equal to 0, or y is equal to 0, I guess you could say. Cool, so we got one answer. Now what? Well, you have to plug in our y to figure out the other variables. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in to this equation here because that one only has y and z. And if I plug in the y, that should tell us what the z is. So let's go ahead and do that. Negative 2 times 0 plus 5z equals negative 5, which is the same thing as 5z equals negative 5. Divide by 5, z equals negative 1. Okay, so now we've got two numbers. We just have to figure out the last one. We have to figure out x. Well, we could do that by plugging in our y value and our z value into one of the equations over here. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you're going to do. Personally, I'm going to do R3 because I don't like the negative 2x. I'd rather keep that positive. So let's just go ahead and do that. But any of them would work. There's nothing special about R3. 2x plus 0, plugging in for y, plus 4 times negative 1 is equal to 8. So that's the same thing as 2x minus 4 equals 8. Just keep solving. Great. So now we have x equals 6, y equals 0, and z equals negative 1. We're very close to being done. We just have to write our answer, kind of like we do when it's just elimination in two variables, in the form of an ordered pair point. We do it x, comma, y, comma, z. This is called an ordered triple. So let's go ahead and write our answer like that. 6, comma, 0, comma, negative 1.